Denzel Washington has played a lot of dangerous men. But there's a theory circulating online that two of his most iconic roles are actually the same man. One of them a bodyguard in Mexico, the other a vigilante in Sicily. In the Equalizer 3, the weapons might just prove it. And the gun Vincent's crew carries in the final sequence turns out to have a real-world connection that nobody in this film would want to advertise. But first, let's get into the arsenal. The film opens in a Sicilian villa, and the first gun McCall touches isn't one he brought with him. In the ultra-violent mansion sequence, he grabs a Smith & Wesson Model 10 revolver. And that single prop choice tells you everything about this character. The Model 10 entered production in 1899. It is the most produced handgun of the 20th century, with over 6 million manufactured across more than 100 years of continuous production. It served as standard issue for American and British military air crews through both world wars, and dominated police holsters across 3 continents for most of the last century. The mansion also contained something considerably louder, and whoever carried it into that house made a very poor decision. A pump-action shotgun we haven't been able to identify yet appears in the villa sequence, and its function in the scene is clear. In a close-quarters environment like that mansion, a pump-action is both devastating and situationally limited. Widespread, slow follow-up, brutal in a corridor and nowhere else. Whoever carried it was thinking about intimidation. McCall was thinking about outcomes. That distinction is why one of them walked out. The weapon McCall reaches for outside the mansion is a very different statement, and one of the most storied sidearms ever made. When McCall moves to the villa's courtyard, he's carrying a Beretta 92 FS, the same pistol the United States military adopted in 1985 as the M9, replacing the M1911 after more than 7 decades of service. The 92 FS fires the 9x19mm Parabellum cartridge, holds 15 rounds in a double-stack magazine, and uses an open slide design that makes it unusually resistant to jamming, a feature Beretta developed specifically for military field conditions. The gun is also deeply Italian, which matters in a film set on the Amalfi Coast. Beretta is the oldest firearms manufacturer in the world still in continuous operation, with records of a barrel sale to the Arsenal of Venice dating back to 1526. 5 centuries of manufacturing, and the 92 FS is arguably their most recognized export. The next weapon belongs to the man who is one of the driving forces behind McCall's quest for vengeance, and it's the second most recognizable pistol in the film. Marco uses a Glock 17 to threaten Gio's wife and daughter, and the choice of gun is almost too fitting for a man who thinks of himself as untouchable. Introduced by Austrian manufacturer Glock in 1982, the G17 was the first commercially successful polymer-framed pistol, and its lightweight, high-capacity design was so radical that American law enforcement initially resisted it, fearing the plastic frame would evade airport metal detectors. That concern was entirely unfounded. The barrel, slide, and springs are all steel. But the rumor made headlines and gave the gun a mythology that preceded its actual record. Today, the Glock 17 is carried by police forces in over 40 countries. Its name comes from it being Gaston Glock's 17th patent, not from its magazine capacity, though the standard magazine does hold 17 rounds. When the Italian state finally arrives to clean up what Marco started, they bring something with a rather more storied reputation. The special police unit in the film carries H&K MP5 submachine guns, and the presence of German hardware in an Italian tactical unit is entirely historically accurate. Heckler & Koch developed the MP5 in the 1960s based on the G3 battle rifle's roller-delayed blowback system, which gives it a famously smooth rate of fire and minimal muzzle climb. Chambered in 9mm, It was purpose-built for police operations in confined spaces where overpenetration is a serious concern. GSG-9, Germany's elite counterterrorism unit, cemented the MP5's global reputation during the 1977 Mogadishu hostage rescue, one of the most tactically precise operations in counterterrorism history. The weapon subsequently appeared in so many films and television productions that the entertainment industry alone drove significant demand for civilian semi-automatic variants. The next weapon belonged to a local man who decided enough was enough. Enzo, a local doctor, picks up a Carcano rifle to defend his town. Designed by Chief Technician Salvatore Carcano at the Turin Army Arsenal in 1890, and officially adopted by the Italian military in 1891, the M91 served as Italy's standard infantry rifle through both World War I and World War II. Over 50 years of continuous frontline service. It was chambered in 6.5 by 52 mm, a cartridge ahead of its time. Smaller caliber, flatter trajectory, less recoil, and lighter than almost anything the major European powers were fielding at the same moment. Italy was the first nation to adopt a sub-30 caliber military round. After the Second World War, surplus Carcanos flooded out of Italian arsenals and into the hands of armies, rebels, and civilians across multiple continents, still turning up in active conflicts as recently as the 2011 Libyan civil war. The oldest gun in this film by half a century, and it belongs to the one character who wasn't a professional. That brings us to the final weapon, and the real-world connection this film would rather you didn't look up. Vincent and his inner circle carry the Beretta PMX, the submachine gun the real Italian Carabinieri adopted in 2018 to replace their aging Beretta M12, which had been in service since the early 1960s. Beretta unveiled the PMX at the Milipol exhibition in Paris in 2017, and the Carabinieri placed their first order the following year. It fires 9mm from a 30-round translucent polymer magazine, folds compact enough to conceal under a jacket, and was designed from the ground up for close quarters work. For Vincent's crew operating on the Amalfi Coast, it is the right weapon. The irony of a Carabinieri-issue platform being carried by the exact people the Carabinieri are hunting is the kind of detail this franchise tends to enjoy. But the most surprising connection in this entire film has nothing to do with the weapons. It's about who Robert McCall might really be. Denzel Washington and Dakota Fanning first worked together in Man on Fire in 2004. When Fanning joined the cast of the Equalizer 3, the internet connected the dots. The fan theory takes it one step further, that John Creasy and Robert McCall are literally the same man. That Creasy survived Mexico, rebuilt himself, and became McCall. It is never confirmed on screen. Fuqua has never denied it either. If you want to see what John Creasy was carrying in Man on Fire, and make up your own mind about whether he and McCall are the same man, that video is already on the channel. Check it out here.